we think about Incorta and how it sources data for adaptive, it's about creating a connection, frankly. Just going to ask you to help us connect to the data, whether that's in an Oracle or NetSuite or Salesforce or frankly, SAP or any number of other places. Because by giving us a connection, you unlock an enormous power in the way the Incorta engine operates. So as an example here, I'm going to connect into an SAP environment, and we're going to bring some data through from SAP. And we're going to make that data readily available for both analysis, but we're also going to be able to leverage that data directly in our planning, our forecasting, reforecasting system, in this case, Adaptive Insights. So I create my connection. I'll use some sample data for this example, and we're going to deploy out a broad set of objects here. We're going to connect into SAP. We're going to look at general ledger. We're going to get orders. We're going to get other supply chain information. And what Incorta will do, like it does every time, I'm going to connect to the data. I'm going to ingest that information, become a digital twin of that system. And what we mean by digital twin, it's about understanding not just the fact that I have the data, but the relationships. I know how things relate in these systems. And so as I bring that information in and make it much simpler for business users, I'm going to be able to answer really any question you have, whether it's predefined or otherwise. So I connect, I ingest that data, I enrich it, derive calculations where it's required, and then make it available for use. And so in just a few minutes here, we have access to thousands of tables, hundreds of millions of lines of data. And it's in the exact structure that it was in the source in its normal form. And to make that simpler in Incorta, because I don't expect users to be able to come in and just instantly know what's in SAP, we're going to frankly just start asking some questions and save the results of that so that I can use it more broadly, I can reuse it. So if I were to create a new business schema in Incorta, and this is simply an aesthetic, it's grouping like columns for analysis or for use. So I want to look at sales information. I'm going to create an insight from this data, and then I'm going to be able to leverage that directly in Workday Adaptive. And I'll create it just like I'm creating a report, honestly. So open it up and we call our Incorta Analyzer. I want to maybe aggregate some of this information. And then it's a matter of what questions do I want to ask. So I want to start getting information on my customer sales here, because we always send trial balance in these examples. Let's do sales. And so I just pick the data sets I'd like to work with and then start pulling that information together to make it really simple to consume. So I want to get my customer information. I start with that. I get my customer names. I can get my customer numbers, pull those in. And if I want to make sure I don't have any, blanks or anything like that, I can filter data out as well. Maybe I also want to get, information on my materials or my the dates around this. So I'm just going to grab these columns and pull them together. And over a few seconds here, what you're going to see materialize, no pun intended, is an output. And it's going to be an output with all the dimensionality and data you would leverage for Workday Adaptive or for broad analysis use. So start bringing in, my metrics, and then just continue to fill out or ask questions of the information. And that is really all that's happening at this point. And as I mentioned earlier, maybe I want to get rid of things that are missing. So scrub out null values, bring in maybe some data information. And I'll bring that in a few ways. I'll bring that in as the exact date, and then maybe I'll bring in also my, bring it a few times here and create a month and a year out of it as well, because that's just built in Incorta. So instead of all of it, I'll grab the month. Instead of all of it again, I'll grab the year. But very quickly, I connect, I ingest, become that digital twin of the information, frame out questions I'm looking for. I'm now just going to save that, and it's available. And under the covers, and I only put this up on the screen to illustrate that your users don't need to understand this. That is what Incorta is doing in the background. That's what Incorta understands. Because once I save this, now I can just go over to Workday Adaptive, and I can just open up my integration interface and start working with the information. Now, I just before the demo, I just set up the connection, but that's all I set up. So I set up a way to connect here in Workday. Just want to test that out quickly, make sure everything is running as I would expect. And now I'm just going to import the structure of what I just built. So that comes over to the adaptive environment. We just drag this in here. That's the structure of what I built out. And if I want to go look at it, have Workday ask Incorta for the data on the back end, that's what you're looking at here. And there's your information. Now, if the needs change or additional data sets are required, well, it's as simple as coming back to Incorta, creating something new, or frankly, I can even edit what I've already got in place here. So if I edit the view that I've already got, maybe I want to put the sales team information in here, or the sales organization information in here, just to illustrate the point. So I'll grab a couple of columns there. I'll grab the sales organization, maybe I'll grab the description along with it. You'll note that that's going to pull right into the Incorta environment. You see it. And again, this is what Incorta understands, so your users don't have to. That's what's happening in the background. Save that. Come right back over to Adaptive again. I'll just reset this because I'm going to change it up. Save it. And this, I'm going to import structure again. I've made no other changes here. I'd already had a connection because a connection is really all we need. And now, just as before, pull over the definition of what I want pulled into Adaptive, and then just ask Adaptive to take a look at it. Once you're satisfied, you import the data into Adaptive, and you're ready to go.